Hello everyone. Today you will learn how to sort and filter data in Excel. In this video, you will learn different ways to configure these data tools, and after watching it, you will be able to independently perform multi-level filtering and sorting with a single click using a macro. If this video seems too fast or slow to you, then you can easily choose the playback speed that suits you. And if you want to watch videos without sound, then just turn on subtitles. I wish you a pleasant viewing. First, let me briefly explain what sorting and filtering tools are. Sorting is used to arrange data in a specific order. In front of you are two small tables. In the first table, the data is scattered randomly and it is not sorted. As for the second table, it has been sorted in alphabetical order, with the first column serving as the reference. It is visually easier to perceive, as it has a certain structure and order. The filter performs a different function. It allows you to eliminate unnecessary information from the table and analyze specific categories of data. For example, here is a regular table in which filtering was not used. And a little to the right is the same table, where only selected categories of products were kept using the Excel filter. Now you know what these tools are. They are very useful, especially when working with large tables with hundreds of rows, so you need to know how to use them. I will now show you everything and explain it in detail, so please pay attention. Let's start with a simple sorting. In the presented table, there are 4 columns: category, brand, quantity of units sold, and revenue. I must mention that all these amounts were made up, so they should not be taken seriously. As an example, let's focus on the category column. I click on the cell with the name, and then look for the Sort and Filter tool in the editing section. I select the command to sort in alphabetical order from A to Z. Now, look at what happened. The entire table has been sorted based on the first column in alphabetical order, and the product categories are now grouped together, making the table more convenient to perceive. Let's compare. This is how it was before sorting. And this is how it became after sorting. I think the difference is obvious. This was the sorting of cells that contain text. But what about numbers? Let's find out which products brought the highest revenue. To do this, I click on the cell with the name of the 4th column and perform a descending sort. In previous lessons, I have already told you that the same action in Excel can be done in several ways. So, I won't search for the sort command in the top part of the window right now. Instead, I will simply right-click and choose the same command. Alright, now we know that Apple smartphones have shown the best results among all categories of products sold in Store 381. This was a simple sort, but Excel provides us with options for more precise customization of this tool. Let me show you a visual example. I click on the column name again, but this time I select the Custom Sort tool. A dialog box appears where you can set desired parameters. Pay attention to how the program automatically selected the working range. As you can see, the header is not included in the selection, which is correct. Otherwise, it would also participate in the sorting and move to another part of the table, which we don't want. However, if desired, you can include it by unchecking this option. And here's what you get. Of course, we won't be satisfied with such a result, but I showed you this example for you to understand how the program works. Now, I will undo the action using the Ctrl+Z keyboard shortcut and go back to the Sort customization window. Of course, I won't touch the checkbox anymore. So, there are 3 parameters of interest to me. I want to sort by the first column, so I specify its name. I leave the next field unchanged. And here, I choose the sort order from A to Z. Now, the most interesting part. Just above, there is a button with the label Add Level. I click on it, and another row appears. When the program performs the sorting based on the first column, it immediately moves on to the second sorting level. Now, I will assign suitable parameters. In the first field, I specify the column with revenue. The second field remains unchanged, but in the last one, I will choose sort largest to smallest. Let's see the result. Great, the table shows us individual categories of products, and the revenue in each category is arranged in descending order. This way, you can quickly identify leaders and underperformers in each category. For example, after this sorting, we can see that Sony headphones sell better than other headphones in this store, while Jabra ranks last in terms of revenue. In the same way, you can explore other product categories. If we go back to the customizable sort, it is worth noting that we can add many levels and perform more complex sorting. But 2 levels are enough for my table, so I will close this dialog box for now. We will come back to it soon, but now I would like to introduce you to a tool called Filter. I remind you that the filter allows you to display only the data you need while hiding everything else. Before starting to use this tool, it needs to be activated. I repeat once again that there are several ways to do the same action in the program. A beginner usually looks for everything on the toolbar. To activate the filter, they would typically select a cell and click on the corresponding icon. That is correct. However, you can simply hold the Ctrl plus Shift plus L key combination to do it faster. Always try to simplify your actions in Excel. So, I just activated the filter, as evidenced by the addition of those small squares in each column of my table. Now, I will perform a simple filter customization. I click on the square in the first column. In the lower field, there is a list of all categories, and they are checked. But let's say I am only interested in televisions right now. To remove everything else, I uncheck them here, and all the categories are automatically crossed out. Now, I search for televisions, select them, and click on OK. Great, the table now only shows televisions. If I want to add another category to them, I would have to go back to the filter settings and check it again. And to revert the table to its original state, you need to remove the filter from the entire column. We can also apply filters to multiple columns simultaneously. I select several categories again, let's say refrigerators and washing machines. Suppose I am only interested in 2 brands from these categories, Samsung and LG. I open the filter settings in the second column and choose these brands. Now, I have 2 filters active at the same time, and they even have a special funnel icon. Another important thing is that the filter settings also include sorting. I sorted the table based on the revenue column. Notice that the filter icon in the 4th column now has a downward arrow. As you can see, the filter and sorting are closely related and can work simultaneously in one table with multiple levels of customization. There are also various conditions that can be set for the filter. We won't go into detail on each of them, but I will show you a few examples to help you better understand how the tool works. So, now I will filter the table based on the second column. In the drop-down list, I select Text Filters. Let's focus on this option as an example. Take note that in the dialog box, the condition can be changed at any time. I command the program to show me the cells with values that start with the letter A. You can stop at this or set an additional condition. I applied a simple customization where the table should only display rows where the content of the second column cells starts with either A or B. And the reference for the filtering is the second column. Let's see the result. The task is done. The table now only shows rows where the text in the second column cells starts with A or B. Now, for further clarity, let's go over a few more examples, this time with numbers. I move the mouse pointer to the fourth column and open the filter. Then, I go to the Number Filters tab and select the above average condition. What happened? Excel automatically calculated the average revenue value, and according to the condition I set, it displayed only the rows where the revenue exceeds the average. And one more example. Let's say I don't want the table to show me categories of products that sold less than 20 units. To do this, I go to the filter settings for the third column. I select the greater than or equal to parameter. Then, in the dialog box, I type the number 20. Done, it turned out exactly as intended, and all the unnecessary rows disappeared. Agreed, the filter and sorting are indeed very simple and useful tools. But my lesson doesn't end there. There are many other important nuances to discuss. Let's get back to sorting. Someone might ask, can you sort in random order? It's an interesting question. And indeed, sometimes there is a need for such sorting. Unfortunately, the developers did not provide this option. However, there is a little trick you can use if you want. Right now, the table is sorted based on the fourth column. I enter an equal sign in the adjacent cell and type rand. Then I press the Enter key. This function generates a random number for me. I extend this formula for autofilling. Now, the entire column consists of a set of random numbers. If I sort the entire table based on this column, the sorting will be in a random order with no logic. All that's left is to delete the new column. And that's it, the table is sorted randomly. Next, if your table contains dates, you can also sort by them. The program automatically detects the cell format for dates. If I go into the sort settings, I will have options for actions with such cells. For example, sorting from newest to oldest. Even the color of individual cells can be the basis for sorting. Here are a few more tricks for you. Throughout this lesson, you learned how to perform row sorting, but what about column sorting? As an example, I prepared a small table with a weekly sales report, and now I will sort it by columns instead of rows. To do this, I select the working range and go to the Sort Settings window. This time, I'm interested in the Options button. Here, I choose the Sort Left to Right option. Then, I specify the 10th row to sort the revenue in descending order. Done. Now, let's imagine the reverse situation. Is it possible to sort the table by days of the week? Certainly, it is. To do this, I again select the working area and go to the settings. The columns are already specified, so I don't make any changes here. I will be sorting based on the 9th row, so I specify it. In the Settings field, I choose Custom List. In this window, all the custom lists saved in your Excel are displayed. The program refers to them when autofilling cells. You can even manually enter various lists through the program menu, and in one of the following lessons, I will definitely show you how to do that. So, in my table, the days of the week are listed. And here is a list that will allow me to sort them in the correct order. I select it and confirm my action by clicking OK. Now everything is in order, and luckily I didn't have to manually fix the table. Another important detail when working with sorting and filtering data in Excel is the total row. I have already added a row with the total sum, and it is located at the very end of my table. Usually, when it comes to calculating the total sum, the sum function is used. Here is what this formula looks like. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it. However, with this approach, sorting and filtering in this table won't work, unfortunately. If I try to perform sorting, the program will either give me an error or the sorting will not work correctly. The same goes for filtering data. After applying a filter, the total row disappears. I won't go into the details of why this happens right now. Let's save our time and go straight to solving this problem. Fortunately, the solution is simple and even has several options. So, I go back to the cell with the formula. I need to erase it completely up to the equal sign. Now, I write the name of the function, subtotal. The program offers me to choose an additional parameter for the function. In this case, I need the ninth option called sum. Then, I specify the separator between arguments. In different versions of Excel, depending on the country, this separator can be a comma or a semicolon. If, for some reason, the formula doesn't work for you, simply change the symbol, and the problem will be solved. Next, I specify the range of data from cell E5 to E81. This can be done by selecting or simply typing them manually, there is no difference. Finally, I close the bracket. Now let's check how the filter works. This time, the total row doesn't disappear, and it correctly calculates the sum of the selected cells. And sorting works perfectly as well, so the problem is solved. There's a second method as well. It involves converting the selected cells into a table. I click on one of the cells and hold the Control key combination. This way, I select the table. Now, I will remove the selection from the top header, otherwise, the table will apply a filter to it, which can cause difficulties in further work. Holding the Control key on the keyboard, I click on this row with the left mouse button to remove the selection from it. And the last step, I hold the Ctrl+T key combination. In the window that appears, I click OK. From this moment, I see a new tab called Table Design. I won't dwell on various settings of the table right now since I'm only interested in filter and sort at the moment. So, I check this option, and the total row is automatically added. This time, I don't have to enter a formula because it works correctly within the table. Furthermore, I can quickly change the type of the total result. For example, instead of the sum, I can find the average or maximum value, and so on. And this applies to all cells in the total row. This method is quite convenient, but keep in mind that smart tables have various restrictions on design formatting options and data manipulation in cells. For example, in a smart table, I can't even merge multiple cells into one. This tool is no longer available. Personally, such limitations are not acceptable for me, so I try to use smart tables as little as possible. They play an important role in creating pivot tables, but that's not our focus today. Friends, today you have done a great job and learned a lot of new things. We have one final highlight because I promised to teach you how to perform multi-level sorting and filtering with just one click. Pay close attention. At the top of the Excel window, I go to the Developer tab. If you don't have this tab, you can add it. To do this, go to the File tab, select Options, and then click on Customize ribbon. In the right part of the window, check the box next to Developer. Click OK. In the Developer tab, I click on the Record Macro button. In the dialog box, I can enter a name for the macro. I will write the word Enable. Then I am prompted to choose a keyboard shortcut to activate the recorded macro. This step is optional, but for example, I will write the letter Q. Below, you can specify the location to save the macro and provide a description. I will leave these options unchanged. The recording has started, as indicated by the blue square icon that just appeared. Now I will perform the sorting and filtering of data, and after that, I will stop the recording, and the program will remember the sequence of my actions. This will allow me to instantly reproduce the recorded configuration later on. So, I begin. Everything I am doing now has already been explained in this video, so you won't see anything new. The configuration is complete. Now it's time to stop recording the macro. Done. The only thing left is to add a special button. To do this, I click on the Insert icon and choose a suitable form control. After deciding where to place the button, I insert it by holding down the left mouse button. Before the button appears on the worksheet, I need to specify the macro it will refer to. I select my recently recorded macro. The button appears. It will automatically enable the recorded sorting and filtering configuration. Right now, I want to create another macro that will restore the table to its original state. I go back to the Developer tab and start a new recording. I give it a name and come up with a new keyboard shortcut. Again, I want to emphasize that this step is optional. Now, I undo all the settings in the table. I stop the recording and create a control button. This time, I specify the second macro for the button. To prevent the buttons from moving along with the rest of the table cells when using filtering, I need to go to the settings. I right-click and choose Format Object from the options list. In the Properties field, I select Do Not Move or Size with Cells. OK. Here, I can also change the name of the button. Let's evaluate the result. I click on the Enable button. Great! With just one click, I filtered and sorted the data in the table according to the pre-recorded configuration. And by clicking on the second button, I can quickly restore the table to its original state. As you may recall, when creating the macro, I specified the keyboard shortcuts for executing the actions, just like the control button. And as you can see, these keyboard shortcuts work perfectly because I'm using them right now, and the table changes accordingly. Additionally, if I were to add a new row to my table, it would also be included in the sorting and filtering. I intentionally colored this row to make it easier to spot. Everything works correctly, and the new row is displayed after clicking the button. In order for the macro to work each time the document is opened, it needs to be saved in a special macro-enabled format. Choose this format when saving the file, and then you won't have any problems with the macros. If you don't do this, the buttons will not work. Dear viewers, we are approaching the end of this video. Please like if you enjoyed the lesson and subscribe to the channel if you want to master Microsoft Excel. And in the description and in the first pinned comment, you can find a link to provide financial support to the channel, as all lessons are absolutely free. I wish you success in your learning. Goodbye.